3 hurricanes, 13 months, 1 tiny Florida town. And when the water finally pulled back, 1 out of every 4 homes was simply gone. Now here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. The people leaving these Florida towns aren't tourists or newcomers. They're the locals, the folks who lived there for 30, 40, 50 years. And they're whispering the same warning on their way out the door. Get out before it's too late. Some are running from storms that keep coming back. Some are drowning in insurance bills that cost more than the mortgage. And some, they're watching the ground itself, the very island under their feet, start to wash into the sea. This isn't fear. This is FEMA data, FBI crime stats, and official state reports. 10 towns, 1 shocking list, and number 1 will honestly leave you speechless. Let's begin. Number 10, Sanibel. We begin on one of Florida's most beloved barrier islands, Sanibel. For generations, this was the dream. Famous for its seashells, its glowing sunsets, and a pace of life so slow, you could feel your blood pressure drop the moment you crossed the causeway. People didn't just vacation here, they built their whole retirement around it. But barrier islands carry a brutal secret. They are the ocean's first line of defense, which means they absorb the full, unfiltered punch of every storm that comes ashore. There is no mainland in front of them to soften the blow. When the Gulf gets angry, Sanibel is the first thing it hits. And when Hurricane Ian roared in, it didn't just flood the island, it severed the causeway, the single lifeline connecting Sanibel to the mainland. In an instant, thousands of people were completely cut off, stranded on a strip of sand surrounded by rising water. Imagine watching your only road home crumble into the sea. Here's what the postcards never tell you. On a barrier island, rebuilding isn't just expensive, it's a gamble against the next storm. You pour your savings into repairs, cross your fingers, and pray the next hurricane skips your street. That's not peace of mind. That's a coin flip with your life savings. So here's the practical truth you can actually use. On an island like this, your insurance premium and your rebuild cost are the real price of the home. And they can quietly dwarf the sticker price on the listing. Stoop Beach House can bankrupt you the moment the wind picks up. Before you fall in love with that ocean view, do one simple thing. Get a firm, written insurance quote first. Not an estimate, not a ballpark, a real number. Because on Sanibel, the view is free, but staying there is anything but. And that's why some longtime locals are quietly walking away. Number 9, Homestead. Next, we travel to the southern edge of Miami-Dade County, to a town called Homestead. On paper, Homestead looks like a steal. Compared to the sky-high prices of Miami just up the road, the homes here seem refreshingly affordable. And for a lot of hopeful buyers, that low price tag is the first thing that catches their eye. But here's the trap. That affordability is exactly what pulls people in, and exactly what should make you pause. According to analysis of FBI crime data, Homestead's overall crime rate runs significantly above the national average, with violent crime heavily concentrated in specific pockets of the city. And this is the crucial detail most people miss. Crime here isn't spread evenly. 2 neighborhoods just a few blocks apart can feel like 2 completely different worlds. One calm and quiet, the other one you'd never want to walk at night. Now, layer Florida's punishing insurance market on top of all that. Suddenly that affordable dream home isn't so affordable anymore. The low mortgage payment you were so excited about gets eaten alive by insurance premiums and the hidden costs of living in a higher risk area. Here's the relatable reality check, and it applies far beyond Homestead. A small mortgage means nothing if everything around it drains your wallet. Buyers get hypnotized by the monthly payment and forget to add up the total cost of actually living there. Safety, insurance, and peace of mind included. So what's the practical move? Don't rely on the citywide crime average. That number is basically useless because it blends the good streets and the bad streets into one misleading figure. Instead, pull the neighborhood-level crime map, right down to the specific street you're considering. In a place like Homestead, the difference between one block and the next can be enormous, and knowing that difference could be the smartest research you ever do before signing on the dotted line. Number 8, Jupiter Island. Now here's a plot twist you won't see coming. You might assume every troubled town on this list is poor or run down. Wrong, because our next stop is one of the wealthiest addresses in all of America. a place where billionaires and celebrities own sprawling estates behind private gates. Welcome to Jupiter Island. If money could protect a place, this would be the safest town in Florida. But it isn't. And the reason is genuinely chilling. The 2025 Florida Department of Environmental Protection report delivered a finding that stopped locals cold. Erosion along Jupiter Island's 11.5-mile shoreline has become so severe that the ocean could eventually break clean through the island and split it in two, near an area called Peck's Lake. Read that again. Not damage a few homes, not wash away a beach, cut the entire island in half. And the response? One town official described their beach restoration efforts with a haunting phrase. They said they were just reapplying a Band-Aid on an island slowly being swallowed by the sea. That's the level of desperation we're talking about. Here's the powerful lesson buried in this story, and it's one everyone should hear. Money cannot outrun geology. All the wealth in the world can't stop the ocean from doing what oceans do. If a billionaire enclave, with virtually unlimited resources, is losing its shoreline faster than it can rebuild it, then stop and think about what that means for the ordinary, unprotected coastline everywhere else in Florida. So what can you actually do with this? Before buying any oceanfront property, anywhere, look up whether the state has officially flagged that beach as critically eroded. It's public information, freely available, and it takes just minutes to check. That single search could save you from pouring your life savings into a home that's literally, physically disappearing. Because on Jupiter Island, even the rich are learning a hard truth. The sea doesn't care how much you paid. Number 7, Cape Coral. Our next town was built on a bold, beautiful dream. Cape Coral was designed with over 400 miles of canals, more than almost anywhere on the entire planet, so that nearly every single homeowner could have their own slice of waterfront paradise. Boat in the backyard, water glittering out the window, the ultimate Florida fantasy. For decades, it worked like magic, and people flocked here in droves. But here's the cruel irony. The very thing that made Cape Coral special is now the thing turning against it. All those canals mean water is everywhere. It surrounds the homes, weaves between the streets, and creeps into every corner of the city. And water, that gorgeous, shimmering water, is exactly what the insurance industry is now running away from as fast as it possibly can. Between skyrocketing premiums and constantly shifting flood maps, that dreamy waterfront access has quietly transformed into a massive financial liability. The feature you paid a premium for is now the feature costing you a fortune to insure, if you can even get coverage at all. Here's the practical advice, and it's blunt for a reason. In a canal city like Cape Coral, flood insurance is not optional. And here's the scary part. It may not stay affordable. What costs a manageable amount today could double or triple in just a few years, as insurers reassess the risk and pull back from the market. So before you commit to anything here, do two things. First, check the property's current FEMA flood zone. Know exactly what risk category you're buying into. Second, get a full replacement cost estimate so you understand what it would truly cost to rebuild. Because here's the bottom line that trips up so many buyers. Whatever you save on the price of the house, you may quietly bleed right back out in insurance premiums, year after year after year, until the dream starts to feel like a trap. Number 6, North Port. Now, just up the coast, we come to North Port, and this town teaches a lesson that should terrify anyone thinking about buying in Florida. Because here, your risk can change overnight. Not after a storm, not after a flood, without a single drop of rain ever touching your roof. How is that even possible? One word: maps. When updated FEMA flood maps rolled out across North Port, they completely redrew the AE flood zones and recalculated the base flood elevations for huge sections of the city. And just like that, thousands of homeowners who had felt perfectly safe and dry for years suddenly discovered they were now living inside a special flood hazard area. Picture it. Nothing about your home physically changed. Same house, same street, same yard. But on paper, in the eyes of the government and the insurance companies, you're now a flood risk. And that new label can trigger mandatory, expensive flood insurance almost instantly, adding hundreds or even thousands of dollars to your yearly costs with the stroke of a pen. For families already stretched thin, That kind of surprise can be devastating. Some bought their homes specifically because they weren't in a flood zone, only to watch that assumption vanish overnight. Here's the actionable gem that most buyers completely overlook. Flood maps get revised. They are not permanent. They are not set in stone. What's a safe, low-cost zone today can be remapped tomorrow into an expensive, high-risk one. So don't just check the current flood map before you buy. That's only half the homework. Dig deeper and find out whether your area is currently under review for remapping. Call the county. Ask directly, because tomorrow's flood zone is what determines tomorrow's insurance bill and tomorrow's ability to even afford your own home. In Northport, plenty of longtime residents learned that the hard way. Don't be the next one. Number 5, Pahokee. Now we turn away from the coast entirely and head deep inland to the quiet, windswept shores of Lake Okeechobee, Florida's massive inland sea. And here, the story changes completely. This isn't about storms or floods anymore. This is about something far quieter, and in many ways far harder to escape: economic collapse. Our 5th town is Pahokee. Local reporting describes Pahokee bluntly as being in the middle of nowhere. It's surrounded on all sides by endless sugarcane fields, with the nearest real economic hub, West Palm Beach, sitting a long, lonely drive away. That kind of geographic isolation might sound peaceful at first, but it comes with a devastating cost. That isolation feeds a brutal cycle of generational poverty. With so few jobs, limited industry, and little opportunity to break out, hardship gets passed down from one generation to the next. In fact, Pahokee consistently ranks among the poorest cities in the entire state of Florida. Not one bad year, but year after year after year. And here's the relatable truth that so many hopeful buyers miss when they spot a shockingly cheap home price online. A low home price often reflects a low local economy. That bargain house isn't a hidden gem. It's often a warning sign. Cheap homes tend to mean few jobs, thin public services, struggling schools, and property that's incredibly hard to resell when you eventually need to move on. So if you're thinking about relocating anywhere, not just Pahokee, don't stop at the question, what does this house cost? That's only the beginning. Instead, ask the questions that actually protect your future. What's the local job market really like? And what will this home realistically sell for in 10 years? Because a home you can't resell isn't an investment, it's a trap. And in a place as isolated as Pahokee, that trap can quietly close around you before you ever see it coming. Number 4, Belle Glade. Right next door to Pahokee, still hugging the shore of Lake Okeechobee, sits our 4th town. And this one carries a reputation that stretches back decades. Meet Belle Glade. Local and state coverage repeatedly ranks Belle Glade as the poorest city in all of Florida. And it gets heavier. Historically, the FBI once recorded Belle Glade as having one of the highest violent crime rates in the entire country. Not just the state, the entire nation. Let that sink in. A small farming town on a quiet lake, once flagged among the most dangerous places in America. But here's where I want to be completely fair, because the people here deserve that respect. Ask the locals, and they'll tell you the truth that no crime statistic can capture. Belle Glade is full of good, hard-working people and a genuinely strong sense of community. Families who love this place. Neighbors who look out for each other. That matters, and it's real. The problem isn't the people, it's the economic engine. For generation after generation, the opportunities here have struggled, and that long, grinding hardship is the honest, unvarnished picture of what daily life can look like for many residents. And here's the takeaway that you can carry with you anywhere in the world long after this video ends. Poverty and crime tend to travel together. They feed each other in a cycle that's incredibly hard to break, but neither one of them will ever show up in a glossy real estate listing photo. That beautiful wide-angle shot of the living room won't say a single word about what's happening 2 streets over. So the rule is simple, and it's one of the most important on this entire list. Always research the town before you research the house. The house can be renovated. The neighborhood, the economy, the safety, those are the things you truly inherit when you buy. Never forget that. Number 3, Florida City. Coming in at number 3, we have a small but infamous town, the last real stop before the highway carries you off toward the Florida Keys. It's a place millions of people drive straight through every single year without ever giving it a second thought. But for the people who actually live there, it's a very different story. This is Florida City. Here's the statistic that puts Florida City on this list. According to analysis of FBI data, Florida City has one of the highest combined crime rates of any community in the entire state of Florida. Not one of the highest in the county, in the whole state. For such a small town, that is a staggering, sobering distinction. To the average tourist, Florida City is nothing more than a gas stop, a place to grab a snack, fill the tank, and keep rolling toward the turquoise water of the Keys. They pull in, they pull out, and they never see what daily life is really like once the sun goes down and the through traffic disappears. But for residents, that daily reality is worlds apart from the tourist's 5-minute pit stop. And that gap between how a place looks to someone passing through and how it feels to someone living there is exactly what makes towns like this so easy to misjudge. Here's the practical filter you can apply to any town you're considering, and it's a powerful one. When a town's entire economy is built around people passing through rather than putting down roots, it often lacks the stable, invested, long-term community that keeps neighborhoods genuinely safe and thriving over time. So ask yourself one honest, revealing question before you ever consider buying somewhere. Do people actually put down roots here, or do they just pass by? The answer will tell you almost everything you need to know. Number 2, Fort Myers Beach. At number 2, we arrive at one of the most heartbreaking stories on this entire list. A place that was, not long ago, the very picture of laid-back Gulf Coast paradise. White sand, easygoing beach bars, families building sandcastles at sunset. This is Fort Myers Beach. And what happened here is a gut-punch reminder of just how fragile paradise can be. When Hurricane Ian made its catastrophic landfall, it didn't just damage Fort Myers Beach, it nearly erased it. Reporting shows that almost every single building on the beach was damaged. Not some, not most, nearly all of them. And tragically, 16 people on the island lost their lives in the disaster. An entire community flattened in a matter of hours. Now here's the part that so many people fail to understand about hurricanes. The storm is only the beginning. Years later, recovery on Fort Myers Beach is still grinding slowly forward. Empty lots sit where homes once stood. Gutted, skeleton structures wait for repairs that may never fully come. And every new storm season that rolls through threatens to slow the fragile progress even further, knocking the community back just as it starts to stand up again. Here's the hard, essential lesson buried in all of this. Recovery is not a season, it's a decade. People see a storm on the news, watch it fade from the headlines after a week, and assume the town simply bounced back. The reality on the ground is completely different. Real recovery can take 10 years or more, and some places never fully return to what they once were. So if you're ever tempted to buy in a town still healing from a major storm, maybe drawn in by the discounted prices, understand clearly what you're actually buying into. Years of construction, deep uncertainty, and steadily rising costs. You're not buying a finished paradise. You're buying a long, hard rebuild. Number 1, Cedar Key. And now, number 1. The town that took a beating almost no community on earth should ever have to survive. A place so charming, so quintessentially old Florida, that losing it feels like losing a piece of the state's very soul. This is Cedar Key. Tucked away on the Gulf Coast, Cedar Key was a peaceful, timeless fishing village. The kind of slow, salty, unspoiled place people spend their whole lives searching for. And then the sky fell. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Cedar Key was struck by 3 hurricanes in just 13 months. Read that again and let it truly sink in. 3 separate hurricanes, 13 months, 1 tiny town. Barely enough time to clear the debris from one disaster before the next one came screaming in off the Gulf. The damage was staggering. Media reports indicate that during Hurricane Helene alone, roughly 25% of the homes in Cedar Key were destroyed, 1 out of every 4. Along with countless beloved local businesses. And here's the detail that captures the sheer, terrifying power of it all. One resident's home was built up on 15-foot stilts, high above the ground for safety. And still, the storm surge came roaring through just 3 feet beneath the house. 15 feet in the air, and the sea was practically at the doorstep. This is the ultimate cautionary tale, and here's exactly why. Cedar Key was not a bad town. It wasn't dangerous, or poor, or neglected. It was beloved, and that is the entire sobering point of this list. Even the places we treasure the most are being tested like never before. So here's the final piece of hard-won wisdom, especially for the Gulf Coast. Stop asking, will a storm ever come? That's the wrong question. The right question, the one that protects your future, is this. Can I afford to rebuild when it does? Again, and again, and again. So there you have it. 10 Florida towns where the locals themselves are quietly sounding the alarm. From eroding islands where the ocean threatens to split the land in two, to canal cities drowning in insurance bills, to beloved fishing villages battered by storm after storm after storm. These aren't just dots on a map, they're a warning, a glimpse at the powerful forces reshaping the Sunshine State right before our eyes. But now, I genuinely want to hear from you. Do you live in one of these towns? Do you think it truly deserves a spot on this list? Or is it getting an unfair bad rap? Maybe there's a town you think should have made the cut that I missed entirely. Drop it all in the comments below. I read every single one, and the local knowledge you share often teaches me more than any report ever could. If this video helped you see Florida a little more clearly, a little more honestly, do me one quick favor. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss our next deep dive. It genuinely helps more than you know. And before you go, don't miss our follow-up video on the safest, smartest, and most underrated places to actually live in Florida. Because here's the good news. For every town on this list, there's a hidden gem out there worth knowing about. Go check it out next.